AJ, we got another injury here. Not as bad, though. We got Colts wide receiver T.Y. Hilton reportedly being evaluated for like an upper back or neck injury. His timetable has not yet been determined. If T.Y. misses some time, who gets a bump in DFS for the Colts at receiver?
Well, yeah, so update on that from Rotowire here. He is going to miss some games. Frank Wright wasn't really clear on that in terms of how many. But we know for sure it won't be week one. Obviously, Michael Pittman becomes the number one guy, but he was going to get opportunities regardless, I think. For me, Parris Campbell is the more intriguing option to look at here. He'll likely be lining up in the slot, which could create some mismatches and some problems for opposing defenses given his speed, although injuries have been a concern for him in the past, so whether or not he can stay healthy is a big question mark for him. But as long as he does, I like the speed. I like the fact that he'll be lining up in the slot. And I think he's a guy that I'm going to target most as a fantasy uptick here in Indy with Hilton out however many games he's out.
Yeah, Geoff, I feel like there's not a ton of proven wide receiver talent behind T.Y.
No, there isn't, obviously. I mean, if you look at their depth chart, I mean, it's a little bit, frightening, quite frankly, if you're a Colts fan, and also, I mean, their tight end depth really isn't thrilling either. So the pass catching role in the Colts is a concern right now. I don't mind the Parris Campbell call at all. I mean, I would not pay a high premium because, as AJ mentioned, Campbell has not really played much football the last 2 years, and he's really injury prone. The talent is there from his college days where he was like a hybrid wide receiver running back in a lot of ways as well. So I don't mind that at all. Take him in the late half of drafts. But for me, this is all about Michael Pittman. I like Michael Pittman as a sleeper before this T.Y. Hilton news. And I'm a little bit confounded why people aren't quite jumping on the train. His ADP really hasn't shot up much from this news. This is a player who, if you look at the last half of the Colts season, you saw a wide receiver one in waiting. This was their ex-receiver, the guy who made the big catches on the sidelines, was starting to take over, was starting to play good against number one cornerbacks. He's a big wide receiver as well. He can body players out. I think Michael Pittman is a wide receiver in waiting. I've thought that since basically he was drafted by the Colts. I really like the draft pick, and I feel like he's probably the best value at wide receiver right now. As you mentioned, where else are the targets going to go? I think that Michael Pittman right now is completely in the role of a potential league winner, especially with this T.Y. Hilton news. So a player I can't be higher on right now.
Geoff, this has been a preseason from hell for the Colts. How much does this hurt Carson Wentz, who's already literally physically hurting?
Yeah, and I mean, this does go into the Michael Pittman stuff too. The Colts O-line is now banged up. The quarterback situation, they lost Sam Ehlinger, their third stringer, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but my God, like with their injury, they need all the bodies they can get out there. I think this actually helps a guy like Michael Pittman because I think the Colts season is they're kind of on the precipice right now. They're like one more injury away here from potentially just folding at the knees, it feels like. And that's good for a guy like Pittman because it just means they're going to be behind more, throwing more. And even if it is Jacob Eason out there, that's fine. As long as we're getting the targets, I feel like all this news, it's not great for the Colts long term. It's good for Michael Pittman because now he doesn't have T.Y. and he's got a team who maybe isn't going to be as strong as we thought.
This kind of feels like Wentz may be a guy you want to steer clear of, AJ. Yay or nay?
Yeah, I definitely think so. And for me, I actually think Jonathan Taylor's stock goes up a little bit here. You've got one less target. If teams are double covering, Pittman here, you really have other options. So they might have to go a little more run heavy than they were anticipating on top of the fact that Carson Wentz was injured. So I think Jonathan Taylor's stock actually benefits a little bit from this as well, as they could go a little bit more run heavy. As Geoff said, if they get behind in games, obviously that's not going to be the case, but they could also line Taylor up out wide as a receiving option. You mentioned kind of the weak wide receiver core. He's certainly capable of catching passes. We've seen him do that in the past. So for me, I like Jonathan Taylor's stock even more with this news.